so excited to be with you today. So Wendy from Family Search, we're here every Wednesday at 4 in the afternoon, and we're just thrilled to have Quincy and Olivia joining us. So tell us, people that are watching, tell us where you're from, and Quincy and Olivia are going to introduce themselves, and then we are going to dive into today's topic. So Quincy, tell us where you're joining from and just a smidge bit about your family.
My name is Quincy. I am joining from BYU, Idaho. I just started my first semester and I love it so far. I know a little bit about my family.
You're in like your college dorm?
Yeah.
Apartment. Are your roommates, do they know that you are live streaming with all of these amazing people from around the world?
I don't know. I think they're just in their rooms doing homework.
That's
Love it.
great. I think you should use this as some sort of like assignment or homework. Is there a class where you can get credit for this?
I think in religion class I can.
Okay. So you're in Rexburg, Idaho, for people who don't know where BYU, Idaho is, and you're a freshman. Mm-hmm. And what a great experience for 2020 college.
It's weird. It is so weird.
And where are you from originally?
I'm originally from Arizona.
Arizona. Okay, so welcome to Rexburg and winter. Okay, we're gonna have to check back in with you. I don't know why I'm being so like I'm teasing you. Quincy, we're so glad you're here. Okay, Olivia, tell us where you are joining from, and then we'll go back to Quincy and have her tell us about her family.
Okay, I'm in Payson, Utah. really far away.
And for those who don't know, tell us what is Payson like?
Oh, I love Payson. It is a small town that, in all sincerity, when I first moved back, we used to live in Virginia. And when we were moving back to Utah, where I had grown up, I was like, no, not moving there. Tiny town, not interested. I love it. I will never leave. I do not ever want to leave. It is the perfect little town right off the interstate. So everything's close. Like we can get to Provo really easy. We can get to Salt Lake really easy. We can go to California really easy if we want to. It's so nice and convenient. And it just has this perfect little community feel. And, the world can be just going crazy and you don't even know it when you're in Payson.
Okay, we all need to go to Payson. Yes. This is great. Okay, so we're talking about families, we're talking about connections, and something that you both are a part of. But Quincy, tell us about your family real quick, and then we'll hear from Olivia, and then we'll get started.
My family, my ancestors, I come from like a royalty line of family. I had a lot of like family come over from the Mayflower, and I had a lot of people start brand new, fresh in America. And so I just feel like, I don't know, I feel so spoiled. Both of my lines of family, they're both incredible, and they've both accomplished some amazing things and gone through some hard things that inspire me. And so if they went through it, I can definitely go through some things too.
You will.
Love it.
Okay. So that's awesome. And do you have siblings at home? Are you the oldest, youngest?
Yeah, I come from a family of 5. I'm the oldest out of 3 kids, and I have my brother and my sister.
Okay. Oh, that's so fun. I bet they're so proud of you.
I hope so.
Okay, Olivia, tell us about your family.
Oh, let's see. I have an awesome family. I have a great family, actually. Love my family. So my immediate family, my little kids, I've got 4 of them. My oldest is 12 and my youngest is 2. And I have an incredible, amazing, wonderful husband. Have to give him a shout out because
Eric.
Things are because of him. Yes, Eric. And then I actually have 2 really cool families. I grew up in a divorced situation. So I have a dad and stepmom who live nearby in Salt Lake, and they're wonderful. I have a sister there and a brother who actually passed away. So there's a lot of connections there. And then I also have another family up in Cache Valley, Utah, and that's my mom and stepdad, and they are wonderful too. I am super blessed with lots of family and lots of connections to make.
Okay, let's talk about this project that you are working on, and then we just want to say welcome to everybody. We so appreciate you letting us know where you are joining from and reaching out, and we will take questions, but these 2 represent this really cool community effort that started. So Olivia, will you tell us just a little bit about the beginning of it, and then maybe Quincy can tell us a little more about how to participate, and then we'll share. So, okay,
Yeah.
Olivia.
Absolutely. So in the interest of time, I'll tell the short version.
Mhm.
I actually, during COVID in April, it was April, and all of you who hit quarantine know the feeling that we were all experiencing. All of a sudden we were like stuck inside and just didn't have a lot to do. And I, as a mom of 4, was suddenly homeschooling all my kids, and it was intense. We'll go with intense. And I kept having this like, you should try the 21-day experiment, because the 21-day challenge, because I had been invited to participate in a 21-day family history challenge multiple times. I'd done it, and it had always been something that had really helped me just kind of get some better focus in my life, maybe change my perspective on things a little bit. And so I'd had that thought several times, but one morning I woke up and it was like, you need to do it. You need to invite all your friends to do it. Like, they're all hurting. They're all struggling too. They need this in their lives. And then the weird one was, you need to measure the psychological benefits. And I was like, huh? Like, I'm not a scientist. What? But my cute friend, Devin, who you guys have probably interacted with a little bit, he's from Family Search, but he had given me this idea that like, there's more to family history. There's a science behind it. He had kind of put that in my head just a couple weeks ago at Roots Tech. So this was floating in my head, and actually who I reached out to was Wendy, who is super cool, as you all know. Our friendly neighborhood Wendy. And I was like, Wendy, what do you think about this? And she was all in. She was like, yes, do it. That's amazing. She was my champion. So I just started reaching out to the community and seeing if there's anyone else like me who like loved it and could see the potential there. And within less than 2 weeks, we went from like idea to like launching an experiment. And what the experiment is basically we take a survey at the beginning, we commit to 21 days, and then we take a survey at the end. And the 21 days is just connecting with family, past and present, because we want people to understand family history is about more than just deceased people and charts. It's totally about connecting. It's about preserving. It's about all of those things with your current family as well. And so we put together a whole bunch of resources because we wanted to make it easy for people. And then the survey is just to measure your mood. Basically, when you start, like, hey, how are you feeling? And then at the end, hey, how you feeling? Did it improve? And we had some really great results.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I can't wait to learn more about those results. So this idea of 21 days is because this is like habit building, right? Like if you do something for that long of time, you can build a habit, it's something that you can commit to. I also like that it has a beginning and an end. And then I love how you tied it to this wellness piece. And Quincy, how did you get involved with the project? And we need to make sure our moderators are sharing a link. So Quincy, after you talk about that, Olivia will have you show the site. So how did you get involved, Quincy?
Okay, so one day I was just sitting in my room and my boyfriend called me. He's like, hey, I have this great plan. My friend's a part of it. I was wondering if you want to be a part of it. And I said, sure, why not? So my boyfriend actually got me involved and I seriously loved it.
Okay, that is the coolest story, because this is something that those of us in the space and many people watching, there tends to be a certain age or stage of life that we're in. And so I love that as a college freshman. And so you would have been a high school senior, right? That you participated and your boyfriend invited you. So what was it about your experience that made you want to be a part of it again?
I love the feeling of connection, especially with everyone who was working on the team. Everyone was so well connected. It just flowed really well. And it was put together in such a short amount of time. But I love connecting to my family, people all around the world who are my age and not really as into family history work, but helping them get into it. And it's been super fun.
Okay, so you guys, if you have questions for Quincy, like, let us know, because we all want to know how to engage a younger audience. Olivia, will you show us the experiment and kind of we'll talk through it and then see what kind of questions we have. But I really want to emphasize that this is something that is run by a community. You guys participating are all volunteers, right?
Yes, we sure are.
Which means you're not paid. So yes. And so as you show us this, tell us how people can also participate.
Okay. And I just have to give my shout out because Quincy just gave hers. Like Quincy is amazing. Like she has been such a cool addition to this. She's helped us put together plans. I'm going to show you guys all this in a minute. So, all right, here's our homepage. It's beautiful. We have some incredible people working on it, and they've put it together and made it beautiful and wonderful. And you can see what participant you are, like how many have participated, and it's going to add up every day. And we're excited to keep adding to that. And then when you get down here, basically we have 3 things you do. You join, you connect, and then you come back in your report. So if you click I'm in, it's going to open up a survey. That's where you're going to take your survey. The connect is going to give you all of the different things that we have. And that's something I'm going to totally spend some time on, but I have to tell you about this cool thing right here.
Yes. Okay. This is something that's new, right? That you're really excited about.
I am really, really excited. This is called our Connections Idea Generator. And it is the whole concept behind this, I have to tell you, is kind of where my passion with family history is. And that's because I love helping people realize, especially younger people like, Quincy, and then even my age of life, you're so busy. You've got these little kids and, you don't have time to do family history. It's like a nice concept, but who has time for that is what you usually see. And so the Connections Idea Generator is your solution. We've been working on this hard and we're excited to share it. And basically you come here and you click on it and it's going to give you an idea that you can do that can help you connect in 5 minutes or less. And so this one's like, just start a COVID diary, right? If you don't like that idea, just click surprise me again. And it'll give you another really quick, fun idea. Like this one's printing something that's a keepsake. And you can just sit there and click through it and get all these different awesome, incredible ideas. And so we've been working on that hard. We wanted people to have a resource they could come use anytime. So you could build your own 21 days just using this, or you can come back after the experiment. You can point your friends and family, hey, just come try this. Even if you're not ready for the whole thing, to be part of the whole thing, come just try this, because just that small connection, you're going to feel better. And we guarantee it.
Okay. Okay. While you're showing stuff, Quincy, when you participated back with the first one, what was one of your favorite challenges, or one of their challenges each day, right? Okay.
So the last one, there are a lot of different plans, like Olivia was talking about. And last time I participated in the teen plan. This time it's called the Gen Z plan, which is a little more, there you go, right there. And my favorite one that I participated in was an heirloom one. And so you had to go and find something that your ancestor had like a long time ago. And in my house, we have this box of different heirlooms that our family has. And I dug up my great-grandmother's driving gloves. And those were so cool. Like her hands, so skinny. I put them on. I could not put the gloves on all the way. Like it was so hard, but it was seriously so cool.
Okay, I love that. And so, Olivia, you're showing what an example of a plan is. And this is, anyone can pick them and then they can decide to do them in the order that they're listed, or kind of whatever. Like it's a sort of a self-serve on demand type of thing. But yeah, so show us what one of the kind of ideas looks like.
So here's get to know your ancestors. And this one's, Quincy actually helped put all these Gen Z plans together. So she helped us come up with all the ideas. So if you don't like them, make sure you take it out with Quincy.
And then you're not Gen Z.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Are you? I don't know.
I think I'm like barely the cutoff.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay. Get to know an ancestor a little better today. Pick an ancestor and write down a few facts and special events in their life. So it's super easy. It's not something hard, but then here's a pre-made sheet that you can fill out, just so when you click on that, open it up, it makes it easy. Like all these things it doesn't have to be something that's like tons of time commitment, but it's incredible what just doing a little bit every day can do for your overall well-being, your overall emotional well-being. So,
okay. Thank you for showing one of the plans. And you've talked about the science or the wellness of practicing, kind of what family history, regular habits can do to your mental health. Will you talk us through a little bit of that? And then if people that are watching, if you have comments, we would love to hear them and share them. So
yes. If you come here to our results tab at the top, and click on that, what we have is we compiled this list of where you see additional evidence. That's just a list of different resources, articles, videos that have been put out that have talked about the power of stories in your life, and family stories and family narrative and all of those things. This time, now we have our last results here, which we're really excited because that's actually just recently we've gotten that published. So you can just click on this. And if you were a participant last time, you can come on here and download it and say, hey, I was part of this. I contributed to this experiment and this is the result. But if you weren't part of it, you can come see what the results were and then come and participate this time and help us be part of building more evidence and more examples of the power that can come from these connections. So you can see here, once again, our graphic people are amazing. They have just such beautiful skills. But if you hop down here, you can see, I really wanted everyone to be able to see all the graphs that I could see. Because on the back end of the survey, I just remember feeling like, this is so cool to just see beginning and end results. So I just had them put it in so we could see both. So you can see here, you've got the pre-experiment results on how often they were doing family history beforehand, and then how much they started doing it during. So obviously that was a huge increase there. And then this one was the overall mood. And so you can see people were mostly at like a 6 or 7, and it shifted significantly up to the 8 or 9 range. So it's not like this huge shift, but it's like improvement. You know, you can see a distinct improvement, which is so cool to me.
Okay, we're getting a couple of questions. Is this affiliated with a religious organization, or is this a community thing?
Great question. No, it is not. We are completely community, completely non-denominational. A lot of us are members of different religions, but none of us are, but we're not promoting any specific thing. We just want everyone to feel like they can come participate and you know, feel the benefits of the experiment. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you. Because I think, and then will you go back, and if people are interested in results, you showed them where to find it. Will you go back and show some of the different plans? Someone is asking, I think it's, I lost her name. She's like, are there different plans for different people or different generations? So why don't you, let's show them that. And then,
okay.
And then Chrome is wanting you to do something, apparently.
I know, I keep ignoring it. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
It's mad at me because I'm using Internet Explorer, heaven forbid. Okay. Or whatever the new one is. Okay. Yes, we have so many. And actually, I'm really glad you brought it up because Camille put a ton of time into these, like a ton of time. And there is some really cool ones I want to point out. So this time, the Family 2.0 plan, we did that one because last time our biggest success story was with family. Like Wendy was asking if there was any good stories, and every story that I read, not everyone, but a lot of the really powerful stories were of moms who were doing this with their kids. And it was like, everything would be going crazy, but then we would sit down and do this, and we were all laughing and happy and connecting right after we did these fun ideas. So we had to do more. This one. And then
Quincy, did your family participate when you did it in May, or did you do this with your boyfriend?
Both. Can I say that? I did part of the family plan with my family, and then I did the Gen Z with my boyfriend.
Okay. So Olivia, highlight the different plans and tell us the one you're most excited about.
Okay, so then we have the Gen Z, of course, we've already talked about. Okay, cultural connections is the one I'm the most excited about, but there's 2 really good ones. It was really hard to decide which ones we wanted to do because there's so many good ideas, but cultural connections. So in a world where there's a lot of like confusion and everybody's struggling, we knew that we needed something to help people connect, but not every person has a fabulous story. They don't have the perfect like parent, grandparent, great grandparents. A lot of people don't even know their grandparents or great grandparents, you know? And so when you tell them to go, you know, interview a grandparent, that's not something that works for them. And so the cultural connections plan is literally built for everyone. Anyone who even doesn't know their family can use this one to learn about themselves, which I love. And so Camille put together basically just a ton of ideas about exploring your heritage in your homeland. So if you know your ethnicity, or even if you just feel compelled towards an ethnicity or a culture, you come in here and you can explore that and learn even more about it. You can do recipes from that homeland. You can do, learn about their history. She has 21 ideas for connecting with that. So that's my favorite one. That's what I'm like the most excited about. I feel like anyone can use it and have a really great experience. And then the gift of connection.
So when,
go ahead.
Sorry. I'm I know that you've got so much to say, but let's take it off the screen share for just a second and we'll do a couple of questions. So when people participate, there's one challenge for each day and they can go at their own pace. What happens to the information when they're participating? Is there like a way that things get saved? Someone is asking, is this something that is saved automatically? So they read the challenge, and some of them you have like a pre-made or printable and they participate in that. Then what happens? What do you recommend they do with the things that they've done or created or the stories?
Do you want to take that one, Quincy?
Yeah, Quincy,
yeah, I'd love to. So in it, we have a spot where you can like share your story, right? And so you can track your progress along as you go. And I'm not really doing a good job explaining it, but
great.
Yeah, so if they want to know what is the benefit of participating in this other than the ideas, what do you recommend they do with all the stuff that they discover and or create? Like what is your recommendation? So I don't know that there's a wrong or right answer.
There isn't. You're right. You're totally right. And we do have like the community on social media. And so we really recommend that you share it on social media because those are things you can print into a book later, you're documenting it online, but also that helps you connect with the community itself. Because a lot of people, the ones who don't really have family, they're like, why should I do this? But it creates a connection with this community that I have made some incredible friends. I just spent time on the phone with participants who had stories they just couldn't wait to share with me, and it's been a really, really incredible journey just to get to know other participants, even if we weren't technically related, right?
Is it true, Quincy, that you did sorry, Olivia.
You're good.
Quincy,
you're good.
You did some TikTok videos and some fun things. Tell us a little bit about that.
So we tried to get TikTok up and running. I think we're going to do it again this round. But basically, we just choose it a few days a week, and we just highlight the challenge and what to do with it, and we post it on TikTok. And that was actually really fun. Like, TikTok's awesome. Such an easy platform to grow on, and so it was so fun to do.
Yeah.
And did you document any of your stories? Like how did you document your stories, Quincy, differently than other people who are participating?
I don't know if I did it differently, but I know for a few of them, there was one where we had to print out a picture and colorize it with my heritage. And I hung it in my room. And so when I looked at it, I was like, oh my gosh, my family. Like my family is probably the most important thing to me.
I love that.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. So I know that was kind of a confusing question, but I think people are saying, so one of the recommendations that you're saying, Olivia, is that you take your experience and you can share it within the group. If people are private, they can share it in whatever tool they use to document, or if they're discovering something. But the idea is to kind of bring the experience together and kind of celebrate each other's successes, right, in a community. And that's why the 21 days is fun, because it's not endless.
Yes. Well, and let me add one other thing. We added this time surveys in the middle to help you just gauge for your own personal documentation. And so we set up every single survey so it would email you what you answered, so that you can have your emailed results at the end and compare how you progressed along the way. Because we wanted people to be able to feel that like sense of accomplishment as they went, like, oh, I have improved. Sometimes it's hard to realize it because it's such a gradual thing. But if you see the difference between week 1 and week 2, you go, oh, hey, I actually am feeling better. So we're trying to incorporate things like that. We have some ideas, but because we are all volunteers, I'm resistant to commit to any yet. But we do have some ideas for sharing that with you after the fact.
Okay, this is awesome. So I think you've done a great job explaining that this is a community project. The idea is that you can participate anytime, but you're really setting aside October 1st to October 21st. You sign in or you join in, you take a survey, and then you can select the plan that you want to participate in. And then each day there's a different sort of challenge. And on top of the challenges, you have way more bonus material, like fun interviews and ways for people to connect in real time. And you talk about that like on your website, which is awesome. And then at the end, you invite participants to document their sort of their mood and their experience, and you look to sharing that with others to say, guys, guess what? When you practice family history a little bit each day, there's some really positive benefits other than, you know, telling stories, but it's also, it's a wellness. And I think that's super cool. And I love how you shared the different plans that you're excited about. I would love to talk a little bit more with you both about some of your own personal family stories. And for people who have questions, we have moderators who can answer them, and we can answer them. And we've got Tara Lynn, who's from the Connections Experiment, who can answer them. But Quincy, would you share a favorite family history story with us? Something that you've learned about? You talked about your grandmother, but talk to us. Tell us a fun story.
Yeah, so that's probably actually one of my most favorite stories. So I'll tell that one. So my grandma was going to school in Utah, and she needed a ride home to Arizona for the break for, I think it was Thanksgiving break. And she's talking with her friend, and her friend was saying, I can't take you, but I know someone who can. So check with him and he could take you.
Oh.
Yeah. So they got connected, went on the drive home. It was super fun.
Ultimate connection?
The ultimate connection. And so they were stopping on the way home at a gas station, and they bought some gum, and they had leftover change. And my grandpa, who was in the car, he was the one driving, he took a penny and he put the gum wrapper over the penny and he gave it to my grandma. And it was nothing big, but like that was the first time that they ever really connected. And so my grandma and grandfather thing was just to give each other pennies with gum wrappers on it.
I love that story. That is so fun.
Well, like what a fun tradition too. That just makes it so you have this cool, unique thing within your family that no one else gets, but it's totally meaningful.
Yeah. So does that mean when members of your family have found someone that they want to spend their life with, that they gift them a penny? And is that like,
that's a good idea.
That's a good idea. Like at someone's wedding reception, they should have pennies. And anyway, okay, thank you for sharing that. Olivia, tell us about a story that you have. And you have a little bit more of a complex family. You talked about you have step parents and step siblings, and
which actually, it's kind of fun. I'm glad you actually said that, because when people ask me what my story is, there's always like so many little beginnings that it's hard for me to narrow it down. But when you make that point, I'm like, you know what I love about family connections is that it doesn't have to be biological. Like the power of connecting with non-biological family is still so powerful. Some of the best experiences have been when I've gone to my step grandfather's house, who, I mean, I don't even feel like he's my step grandfather. He loves me so much, you know, but, and I love him so much, but some of those experiences of just interviewing him and getting to know his story. And, you know, you hear people adopting grandparents in nursing homes. Same story. I remember doing that when I was at BYU Idaho. I did adopt a grandparent, and there's power in like story, you know, the connection that comes from hearing somebody's story, realizing that they're a real person and that they went through real hardships, even if they're just, you know, at the end of their life and they seem just like, you know, all of a sudden their life opens up to you. And so I think there's so much power there. But I guess I would say because of the divorce in my family and stuff, I didn't always know all of my family that well. So once I started getting interested in kind of learning my family's stories and scanning pictures and things like that, I started reaching out to great uncles and aunts and people who were still alive, because I knew that was the generation I needed to hurry and get to. And I have become best friends with my great auntie. My Auntie Mame is what I call her. But I mean, like, to me, she's my grandma, but I actually brought his picture because I love him. This is my grandpa.
Look at how handsome.
I know, isn't he? He was a cat. But he was my dad's dad, and he died when my dad was only 12. And so obviously I never knew him. And even my dad only knew him, you know, as a 12-year-old. And so I have just developed this great relationship with my aunt, having her just tell me stories about him and even about her parents. Like her parents are like my favorite people, and I never knew them. But I know that her mom, my great grandma, and I are like, we're best friends. I just know this. Like when I die, we'll just be best friends forever. So I look forward to the day. But anyway, I just think there's so much power in story and connecting with any family, however you consider them family. And I think I've been blessed to have that opportunity to experience that powerful connection, even with people who aren't biologically mine. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think we can probably that all resonates with us. And I love how you talked about questions with your great aunt to kind of understand the story. And Quincy, when you have talked about, you said something about when you were asking questions, how it made people feel. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Will you tell us that?
Yeah. So, the whole reason I know that story is because one day I asked my grandma about her ring. I was like, oh my gosh, grandma, your ring is so pretty. Like, where did you get that? And she's like, well, it was actually my engagement ring. And then we went into the whole story of how they met. But when I found that when I ask my grandparents or anybody who's close family, friends, when you keep asking them questions about something that they like are passionate towards, they get excited and they get happy. And there's just like a connection between you guys that just keeps going.
You know, I just have to hold that thought for a second. When you ask questions of someone, especially like you talked about your grandmother and her ring, and you said it makes her happy, what you're showing is that you're interested in them, and listening to people and inviting them to share stories is something that at Family Search we treasure, and we feel honored when people document their stories with us, and we feel such great love for those who have these types of conversations. And so the idea that what you just described, it's an act of love, really, is to listen, and not only listen, but to engage and ask questions. And I think this resonates so strongly with the mission of what you're trying to do, which is build connections. And you can do this with your family. You can engage in conversation and connection with, anybody, anywhere. And I think at this time, what a gift. And so I love that this project and the work that this community is doing is really trying to facilitate that. And Olivia, you said, your current family, your past family, right? And it can be a different definition of family. It doesn't have to necessarily be biological. So Quincy, I love that. Thank you. Olivia, this is so fun. We're so excited to talk.
I have a question.
Jumping in.
Wendy, I want to know a cool story about in your life connecting.
Okay,
and turning it back on you.
Like a cool story, like
like
a
something
family
powerful from your life that's been like a connecting experience, right? Quincy, we want to hear that, right?
Okay.
We do.
Well, and I actually, when I was interviewed, I joined one of the live streams with you guys in May. And something that I, because this is, I don't talk a lot about, is for me personally, the reason why I love stories so much is I grew up without any. So my parents came from a very disadvantaged childhoods. And so for them, they left, my mom's parents had both passed away before she graduated from high school. And my dad was an only child and had some strained relationships with his mom. And so I met her once when I was 3, but never, no photographs, no stories. And so when I would ask my parents, like, I didn't even ask them about a story. They just didn't talk about things because it was so painful. And in that generation, you just kind of set those things aside. And my dad grew up in Chicago and my mom in Wyoming, and we lived in California, and they started this whole new life. And my mom, we had one sister that of hers that we were really close to, but she lived out of state for the most part. So I grew up without any stories, and my whole professional career has been about encouraging people to document and tell stories. And that's something I've done with my kids. So I think my favorite types and most memorable stories are the ones that are that I've just learned or discovered. And here's another one that I think is so interesting. I try to take when my kids, I have 5 sons, when it's like milestone moments or birthdays, I communicate with photos and stories. And so I have twins. This is personal. This is just turning it on Wendy.
Yes,
who just turned 25, and they're fraternal men, fraternal twins. And so I shared 50 photos and some memories of what it was like raising twins. And so I love to connect like the past with the present in a way that helps people feel that they're seen and loved. So with my twins, Jacob and Nathan, I talked about some of the highlights and some of the funny things of raising twins in a way to remind them how loved they are. So I love to use stories to communicate love. And my favorite stories are ones that do that. And I think when Quincy talked about asking questions, like I love to do that. That's why I love what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
But for me, it's all about love. It's a way to demonstrate. It's a way to communicate. And it's a way to just kind of reach out and say, I see you. I want to hear about you. And I want to celebrate you. So I don't know if that's the answer, but
I love it. I love it. Well, and I'm going to put you on the spot, but you shared a cool Instagram concept that you did for your son's birthday.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if you've shared that with your audience, but they need to know because that was genius. Like when you showed me that, I was like, and I love it because it's just connection.
It's connections. I talked about it once, but my oldest son turned 29 and I love technology. And so I thought, what can I do? Well, of course I know what I can do. I can record 29 stories for his 29th birthday. And I thought I could do a photo book or I could do a scrapbook. So that's what I used to do. And I thought, no, I'm going to create his own Instagram account and I'm going to record the easiest way possible, which is me talking. I'm going to record 29 stories. And so I created 29 birthday stories. And in the profile, I said, I used a quote, who lives, who dies, who tells your story. I'm sure guys know, you know where that's from, Hamilton. And I said, I do. And I've been doing it by your side all along, 10,585 days of light and joy, because that's how many days you live when you're 29. And so then it's just this feed of all of these stories. And when I gave it to him, I gave him a QR code. And so he's like, what is this? And I'm like, this is the coolest gift ever. And he scanned it and it opened this account with photos of him as a child and as an adult. And he just, like, the emotion was, you know, he instantly, we were all crying. And
the picture you showed me was just the picture of him opening it was powerful. I just was like, Quincy,
so thank you for asking that question, because that is what I believe is a way to communicate love. And Family Search, you know, really firmly believes in recording the story as of many people as possible. And we treasure when people upload memories to our website, and we love and accept, you know, the stories of others, and we look for ways to nurture and curate that. So thank you for giving me a chance to
thank you for sharing, because I was inspired when you shared it. So I was like, I know how to get this out there.
So, and I think something else that's important as we, I don't know how we are in time as we're kind of wrapping up. I would love for, you know, Quincy and Olivia, for you to talk a little bit about how were you, you know, you talked about this, the resilience and the science behind doing family history. How did that personally impact you? Did you notice a mood change, Quincy? Was that something that you could really see?
Yeah. So when COVID hit, I was in my senior year and I was like devastated. My senior prom got canceled. My senior trip got canceled. My graduation, like everything. And I was so distraught. I was like, yeah, the worst. And so when I got called to be a part of the project, I was like, I don't really want to add another thing onto my plate with like doing online school. But I decided to do it.
There was a boy involved, so you did it.
I was like, if he's doing it, so am I. So yeah, but I got involved and it was fun to feel like I had something to work on every single day after I finished my school. Mm-hmm. And then when the time came for a project, it was so fun because I could really feel like my family's help on the other side being like, you got this. COVID's not that big of a deal. It's going to be okay. And my mood went from like here to like, it like slingshotted all the way up.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. And I know that I felt so much compassion and empathy for high school seniors, last year. And we just, I just think it's awesome that you are participating in this as a volunteer, and you loved it so much that you now are helping create content, which I think is such a cool story. So thank you, Quincy.
Yeah,
And Olivia, like, I know you've talked about your own experience, but there are stories of people that you connected with who had improvements.
Yeah, you guys, like, I wish I could share them all. And that PDF that I shared today of our results, that's just the beginning. We're going to load the whole page and get it even more. So you guys can go through and feel the power of reading everybody's experiences that shared and was willing to share. But I am telling you, it wasn't these big, there were some that were just big experiences, but it was the daily stuff. It was the daily things that people would come back and just be like, I can't tell you how many people were like, thank you for putting this project together. Thank you. This has changed our entire atmosphere in our home. Like, most of us were stuck completely at home at that time, which I know some
So
people
isolating.
are. Yes. And so it was so huge. And I'll admit, for me, the experience was a little different because I was slammed. I was trying to make it all work. And so was everyone on the team. But that was the most rewarding part, because I would still do my little 5 minutes of family history or family connections every day. But it was like squeezing it in, and which is, I'm telling you, it still helped. It still was awesome. We still had some really cool experiences with the kids, and I had some personal stuff, but the power of everyone else's connections was so powerful, which is why I would say, even if you're not a super social media person, just being on the social channels so you can read the experiences of those who are willing to share is so motivating. It lifts your spirit every day. It makes you feel happy and positive and good. And I can't recommend it enough, because that's what, that's why I was like, sure, it took my life for a month and a half, but I'll do it again because I love it.
That's what I think is so cool and powerful, is that you're run by volunteers. This is created with the intent to give people an opportunity to engage in something they may not have thought was for them. A lot of people have thought, oh, family history isn't for me, right? And you make it doable and attainable, and you try to provide different pathways. So you guys, thank you so much for being with us today. And I know that there were some links shared in the comments, but it's called Connections Experiment, right? Connectionsexperiment.com. And did you guys have any final things to say before we sign off? Well, I guess you have to now.
Yes, now we have to have something. Quincy, what is your powerful message?
October's experience is going to be a party, so join it.
Yes, join, because it's going to be a party. I love that.
I love it. I can't say it better. She nailed it.
Yeah, it's like, join the party with these guys, and I can't wait. I'm going to be in. So
I know, I have an idea.
Okay.
If you want to help, let me know too.
Yes, because you're all run by volunteers, and so
Yes,
you have a ton of people who participated the first time and are now helping.
Yes. And so if you get in there and you get doing it and you feel the drive and you're like, I would love to help make this happen, we would love to have you. So we have hello@connections-experiment.com is our email. So just shoot us an email and say, hey, I'd love to help, because we'd love to have you and come be part of our fun.
Well, thank you so much, both of you, and everyone watching that stuck with us. We appreciate you joining us, and we will see you next Wednesday. We'll be actually talking about memories next Wednesday. So we're going to be talking with the product manager. It'll be more technical, but really informative. So, okay, Olivia and Quincy, you guys were fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.